Hi guys, welcome to another LivinginSAtv video, David here. So today we're going to introduce you guys to Ornico, which is the first artificial intelligence company moving from Sandton all the way to Joburg CBD. And guys, we are going to show you the amazing work that they have done with the building. And guess what? They have 240 staff members working in this building. It's incredible, guys. I don't know what to say, but we're going to show you guys the building from the basement to the top. And again, guys, make sure you subscribe, you share, and destroy that like button, and let's make this exodus start right now. Stay tuned. So this is where the building is. Right here in Bayes Nodia Square. Library on that side. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful place, eh? Just there.
So what we've called this is Ornico City at the end of the day, because our offices in Sandton was called Ornico House, but because there were a lot more people here, we had 240 people here when we moved from Sandton to Joburg. It's a much bigger place, so that we thought, okay, moving from Ornico House to Ornico City. So that's how we've got it labeled and all at the end of the day, and we call it Ornico City. But in reality, this was called the old Natal Bank Building. It mustn't be confused to Natal Building Society. It was quite different. It was Natal Bank Building, and this was actually the very, very first bank building in Johannesburg to be built in 1886. But it was a shack at the time. It wasn't made of bricks and mortar. And within a few years, they already started building it as a one-story building, and then broke that down and built it very, very quickly to become a three-story building that it is now. And it was a skyscraper at the time. But they only completed it, so from 1898 up until 1904, it took them a long time to complete it because of the Anglo-Boer War. So because of the Anglo-Boer War, they had to stop building at the time. Okay, so these floors, when we took it on, were covered with carpets. And it's such a shame to have these beautiful floors covered in carpet. So we actually took them off and we did it. And it was an absolutely big thing. But I think the thing that I liked about this is that really, how do we as the Ornico staff, as South Africans, whatever, I mean, how do we have a quality of life? And the way we have a quality of life is have quality mentors. And in order to, and then from the quality mentors, we get quality training. And if we have quality training, we can get our mind broadens and gives us much bigger quality dreams, which allows us to ask those quality questions. And that's why often I talk about curiosity. And the much more quality your questions and more curiosity you have, the better your decisions, the better your actions, the better your results, which you have a much better quality of life. Okay, so this is really the entrance. We don't use this entrance at all, but it's got this most beautiful pressed ceilings. It's a pity that it's actually not utilized, because I think we should be able to utilize it more. Yeah. And so this is the entrance to Ornico at the end of the day. I mean, if you look, we've kept all the original bank features, all the bank tellers, etc., etc., etc. And we've tried to keep all the old stuff and the heritage stuff, but still make it modern and up to date, so that we find that we're in a beautiful space. Yeah, I mean, you can see the kind of carvings that have been done. You can see the marble that is still here. I mean, the detail that they actually brought out in those days. And I mean, what did we do? I mean, this is where all the guys capture all the data from an Ornico perspective. So we, the story of Ornico ultimately is that we actually operated for many years, for 33, 34 years in Sandton, and decided we had outgrown Sandton, and we needed a new space. And there was a couple of reasons. I mean, I love Joburg. I was here often. I come at nights. Whoops! I come at nights. I went to even with my wife. It never used to get, not only on my own, you know. And I just love this kind of space. So instead of building a new building in Sandton, which is really expensive, there's so many buildings in town that are not utilized. So here was an opportunity to take an existing building that is beautiful at the end of the day, but also move our operation into town, which I loved. So from a business perspective, what we do is we all the guys monitor all kinds of communication, whether it's advertising, whether it's PR, whether it's social media, and this is the department here that looks at TV, radio, outdoor, print, mobile, all the different media types, and puts all that information into databases. And you'll see later when we go upstairs to the analysis department where they actually then analyze all this insights and give it to brands and agencies across 14 African countries actually. So yeah. Okay, so this must have been the manager's office, the bank manager's office, which we've made kind of a kitchen where people make their teas and coffees, etc. And the reason why I say this must have been the manager's office is because there was a fireplace, and there is no fireplace anywhere else. And he had his own personal, and I'm sure in those days it must have been a he, it couldn't have been a she. He must have had his own toilet right there. So that's why I'm making an assumption that it was the manager's office, but I'm not 100% sure. And here, because of the fact that we work digitally most of the time, this is an area where we try and get everybody to not bring any of their digital tools in the space. It's just a chilled out space, can sit and chat, talk, brainstorm, do whatever you want to, but actually keep all the digital tools out of the space. So, as I've said, I wanted to try and keep as much of the heritage as possible. And so I try to keep all the tiles as intact as possible. The problem is around about here, because of water damage, there were no tiles here and it looked a little bit ugly. So what I thought I would do is I would take away some of the tiles from the bottom, okay, and fill this up. But as we were filling it up, a whole lot more actually came down. So I thought the best way to do it from a safety perspective as well is just to take that away and just keep it still quite modern, actually seeing that. And I've tried to keep those tiles in as much intact as possible. So when we first purchased the building, there was not one electrical cable in the building. There was not one water pipe in the building. So when you came down to the basement that we are in now, it was pitch black. But because there's water in Joburg, it started seeping through. And so the water was up to here in this basement area. So we had to come in with big Wellingtons. And can you imagine being pitch black, all you have is your cell phone, and wondering what you're actually going to stand in while you're walking here. But it was a complete mess within that space. So we had to pump the water out first before we can actually do anything within that space. But again, these were all the old safes of the bank, and we've kind of created them into our own little boardrooms. And again, this one is called Nairobi because we've got an office in Nairobi. This is actually our main boardroom. At the end of the day, again, creative, and yeah, is like I said, a boardroom. We've got our spaceman again, or astronaut, or scuba diver, whichever way you want to look at it. Some of our awards, in fact, we should be putting up more of our awards here. We've got a whole lot more that we need to actually add. We won some in 2023, which is really cool. And just like I like trying to implement and help the city CBD prosper. Francois, myself, and a few others are actually involved in a whole lot of global organizations. We need to give back to the communities. We need to give back to our our industry, etc. So we're part of PAMRO, which is Pan African Media Research Organization. We're part of AMEC, which is the Measurement and Evaluation Committee, which is a global thing, and FIBEB, which is a media monitoring, also global. And then some of the South African ones like IAB, etc. So we're involved in a lot of committees, even being on their boards at the end of the day, is because we need to give back. This is a gym. Was used much more before COVID than after COVID, believe it or not. But the guys are actually starting to ask us if they can start using it again, so we'll probably start decking it out again.
Go.
As I said, this boardroom is called Nairobi. You'll see it here, Nairobi. Like I said, wherever we operate around Africa, we've named it. This one is called Lagos. No one ever calls it Lagos, and when you see, you'll see why. Okay, everybody calls it the church. I'm the only one that wants to call it Lagos. But they look at it, this is where we do all our training programs. We invite clients, we show them stuff. So this is where we have all our sessions to be able to train people. I've done nothing with the back wall here, unfortunately. I've kept it, and I'm going to keep it like this. But this is going to be the Ornico Museum. I want to take it, because we're a 40-year-old business. We started off with, it's digital now, with AI and the rest of it. And as a business, we've kind of evolved 5 times over the 40 years. So I want to actually show how the business has evolved. But not only that, how our industry has actually evolved. Because, remember that we've got the very, very first commercial that ever flighted in South Africa, which is Big T Burgers. And the way SABC used to have to approve those ads before they were flighted, and the whole apartheid era, and how black people weren't allowed in this. They had to have ads for black people, ads for white people. It's like kind of crazy when you look at it. It looks completely stupid, and that's why I want to do that museum, because that kind of history we need to preserve and keep, because our future generations. We think it's crazy. Can you imagine what our future generations will think? They'll think it didn't exist. So it's important to keep it and keep that going. Okay, so what happened is we digitized, this is U-matic, which was an industrial format, which we've got all our commercials on here. But when we digitized it, instead of throwing away, from an adaptive reuse perspective, we thought, let's utilize it as a kind of wallpaper for our boardroom. So these are all tapes going back to 1978. Okay, so this is another section. Actually, my IT department used to be here because they wanted to stay away from people. And so we put the IT department in this space, and then they hated it because it's underground. This was obviously a subsidiary of Natal Bank building called Bank of Africa. And we've kind of made it a fun area. We had our 40th birthday here. We have parties, we have stuff. Just get-togethers, just so that the culture of the business, we kind of can engage in it, and it's really a fun space. And if you notice, even we've done it completely outside of even the corporate colors of Ornico. So people feel that they're out of that space, they're not in the corporate environment at the end of the day. Yeah, and one of the things that I haven't fixed up yet, unfortunately, is the lift. So there's still this lift actually is not the original lift. This lift was redone in the late 30s at the end of the day. But because when I bought the building, everything was stolen. Every single cable was stolen, like I said earlier. So I've got to redo the cage, I've got to redo the wiring, I've got to redo the cabling and the rest of it. So I haven't really managed to do that as yet, but it is that's the next thing I need to just fix up. In 2010, I earmarked this building that I really wanted to buy. It looked really cool. And it wasn't really that expensive at the time. It's just we just didn't manage to do it. And in 2015, I put in an offer for this building. And nothing was happening. And what happened is there were a whole lot of other people actually vying for it, but most people couldn't get a bond for it. And so by 2016, We bought it. It took a year to transfer to our name, so about not exactly a year, just under a year, and we started renovating it. But it was so scary because when you came into this building, it was a mess. There was nothing in this building, and everything was just terrible. And the thought about what it cost us to buy this building, and what we needed to actually renovate it was just a scare, because you got to make a return on investment at the end of the day. So you couldn't, people were wanting to charge us 18 million rand, 20 million rand, 25 one interior decorator wanted to charge us to actually do this. But I mean, if you look at that costs and divide it up even over 10 years, your return on investment wouldn't be there. So what we did is we got an award, believe it or not, an award-winning interior decorator called Tristan Duplessis, who from Studio A, who's won awards all over the world, who was really, really keen to do this at cost at the end of the day, because it was such a beautiful space. And really, I mean, the ideas, a lot of them were his and a guy called Dino Mavro and myself. We kind of put these things together and got what we did. So at the end of the day, yes, we did spend a lot of money to actually to do it, but nowhere close to the 18 million rand that we were first quoted to fix it. Okay guys, so now we're on the third floor, and that's why we're calling it third floor co-lab. This is the co-working space, and you know, in town you have so many small little businesses, and it's so cool to have them kind of coming in here. So the receptionist, and you'll see on the right hand side, you'll see how we've kind of integrated it with the old, the new, made it modern, made it hip. So that, you know, all the technology companies, the data companies, the marketing companies, the rest of it could really have a creative hub that they can live in. So let's show you around. This is a beautiful space here that guys can sit and cooperate with the different businesses that are in here, and sit and plan and brainstorm and do whatever. And it's really, really, yeah, I think quite cool. Nice, beautiful boardroom with a TV, and have meetings that we can, that we just keep winning, because as entrepreneurs we need to just keep winning. That's what it is. Yeah. And again, as business, we've got to always be positive as entrepreneurs, and the only way you can be positive is that you need to know that you're going to win no matter what. Yeah, and again, this is our kitchen. We've made it very funky. You can see the little funkiness up there, and it's a very different color to the rest of the building, and you'll see that funkiness. And again, here the guys can, it's a co-working space again. Sit here, work on your computer. There's Wi-Fi. There's 200 meg Wi-Fi around, so yeah, it's all there. This is my wife's grandfather's table, so she always says I need to protect it, so whoever comes in here needs to protect it. Stunning. Yeah. We've kept, well, we would have gone through that anyway. So, yeah, and here all the offices, either people can bring in their own tables or chairs, or we will organize tables and chairs and everything for everyone. You know, this is the hot desking, also very cool space in terms of the hot desk inside. And yeah, just before COVID, there was a lot of collaboration within the space, because, you know, with all the data companies getting together, the IT companies, fintech, marketing, there's so much of that kind of going around in the CBD. And yeah, as I said earlier in the conversation, is the CBD, and that's one of the reasons that I got here, is because of those little small businesses that were doing some extraordinary stuff. More offices. And this is one of my favorite areas, because as entrepreneurs, you need to do, this is the thinking room. And in the thinking room, this is exactly where that shit happens. Okay? Because then there's a thinking room is where things happen as an entrepreneur. And it's got nothing to do with male and female about balls and no balls. And you'll see it's all about, as an entrepreneur, do you have the balls to actually take those leaps, or do you not have the balls to take those leaps? So if you're having a bad day, go into the no balls rooms, and if you're ready to kill the world, you go into the ball section. But I'll talk about it downstairs.
Okay. Look at this.
Yeah, so this is the second floor, occupied by Ornico, and we've spoken about what Ornico does. This is my right hand person, Bella, and this is my office. And so, yeah, this is where I live most of the times. And I mean, when we launched, what was really interesting is when we launched the building, we try to keep doing everything within the CBD. So all the caterers were from the CBD, transport was from the CBD, and we invited all emerging artists actually to come and to come and display. And we invited our clients over to come, and we sold a lot of these artworks on auction to our clients. I bought some. Andrew Chabelle has become one of my, because of that auction, has become one of my favorite artists in the city. And now he's not an emerging artist any longer. He's really a very, very successful artist. So whenever, he used to buy a tie at the end of the day, from that city, country or town that he had the conference at.
New York. Venice, okay.
Second floor of Ornico. We don't have our IT team in today, but this is the IT department.
Wow.
Yeah. There we go. And also not. Whoa, there we go. It's. This is more the sales, client service, marketing teams. Yeah. Cool. This is where my workshop guys work. This is the marketing team, and this is, again, there's just the toilets, but not as funky as
the other ones.
As the other ones. Okay, so we've got a huge generator here to keep the power going. So because we're running a 24-hour operation anyway, so we need to keep the generators going. But also we've got water tank, enough water for kind of keeping the building going for a while. So so it's all fine here. I have to say this is one of my favorite features in the building. This was when they created when they developed this building. They brought this staircase which goes all the way up to the third floor. It goes all the way up to the third floor, but if you can see it, it looks like a fan. So in order for them to easily transport it, it was flat. So it came out in a flat staircase, and what they did is when they got here, opened it, unfanned it up and bolted it to the wall. So it's really an incredible feature. I wish I could have actually put glass here so that we can actually see it, rather than just when we sitting behind. But it's a beautiful feature. I really like it. Francois run away.
Look at this.
So this is our analysis team. They take the data, they analyze it, and this is where it happened. Kind of gets a little bit and room for expansion at the end of the day as well. Yeah, it kind of gets a New York loft feel, you know, and that's what I try to keep. I mean, here I couldn't keep the ceilings because the ceilings weren't here, but I've tried to, as I've said before, I try to keep as much of the original as possible. If there wasn't, there wasn't, and that's part of it. So really what we do is we try and name each of the boardrooms out of the countries that we work in or the cities that we actually operate in. But also when we were in Sandton, we were all on one floor, so it was very easy for us to engage and talk to each other and stuff like that. But now, because of the fact that we're on three floors, it made it a lot more difficult. So what we created, which we never had in Sandton, was really an area where people can eat. So as you can see, that was in Kandla, and that's where people eat. And so the guys come for the...
Oh, you say in Kandla, that's where people eat?
In Kandla,
in
yeah.
Kandla. Oh, okay. Just checking that. So this is the area that sometimes have a few little functions, but mostly actually this is where the guys come to eat, and we, you know, from all the floors we come here to eat. So this bookshelf used to be much fuller with books. I don't have an issue, people, you know, as long as they bring them back, but sometimes it doesn't happen because it's all about knowledge and curiosity and stuff, and I think that's really important. This is our Cape Town boardroom, and also carrot, quick little intimate. Inside the storeroom there's games, so that when we're playing games and stuff like that, the board games, etc., just to add a little bit of a fun element in the working environment as well. So yeah, I mean, we just wanted to try and keep it funky. So I saw this idea, not my idea unfortunately, but I did see it on the internet, and I thought, well, we have to have this legally, and while we're having it legally, let's actually create a bit of a funkiness to it, you know. So we created the scuba diver who carries our fire extinguishers. So here's the finance department. There's Lungs making us money. Okay, I mean, one of the important things is people don't think there's parking in the CBD. Well, we've got parking right next to the building. But it's not only about the parking. I think it's very, very convenient because we've got a rear via right outside. It's very easy to get the rear via. The Gautrain bus stops just diagonally across the road. So it's very easy for people to come in and out without actually bringing their cars in if they don't need to. So, but there is a parking lot. There is the rear via. There is the Gautrain, and so it's very, very easy to do all that.